Racial Equity Impact Analysis Best Practices. This is a short overview of the best practices when using a racial equity process. As a result of the city's Strategic and Racial Equity Action Plan, City Council has directed that staff will be required to use this process when their work will result in a request for council action for the following legislative actions: new ordinances and updating to existing ordinances, charter amendments, new city enterprise policies, and updates to existing policies. However, this process will also be valuable to the use of other scenarios such as developing budget change items, conducting department reviews, and supporting the work of appointed boards and commissions. Equity impact questions have been integrated into the mayor's budget guidance, and all departments will have to respond when submitting budget proposals. The racial equity impact analysis is an excellent process to support departments in this work. The racial equity impact analysis is an essential process to help departments determine how current programs impact racial equity. The Division of Race and Equity is collaborating with the Internal Audit Department to build racial equity into the audit inquiry process, as well as Results Minneapolis to enhance templates that support departments in analyzing their work through a racial equity lens. Appointed boards and commissions are encouraged to use this process when advising the city on policy and enterprise recommendations. Navigating SharePoint. First, you want to start with Office365.com. In the right-hand side, you will log in with your City of Minneapolis email address and web credentials. Next, you will navigate to the SharePoint site. This is where all the SharePoint sites across the enterprise are housed. On the left-hand side, you'll be able to search for the Division of Race and Equity. At the top right, you're going to click on STREET. This is where the documents for the Strategic and Racial Equity Action Plan can be found. On the left-hand side, you're going to select REIA Implementation. This is the SharePoint site for the Racial Equity Impact Analysis. Select Standard REIA. This is where you can find an embedded template for the Racial Equity Impact Analysis. You're able to download this and share with your colleagues. On the left-hand side, select Training and Support. All TA sessions and trainings can be found here. Next, select Data Resources. As data is collected, it will be uploaded for accessibility here. For documents around community engagement, implementation, and other forms, you can find the Strategic and Racial Equity Action Plan to download. It will open in a web browser. On the left-hand side, you will select File and Save As. This is how you can download your form before uploading it to submit. Once the form is complete, it will be ready to upload to LIMS. Here's the start of an RCA. At the bottom, click Attach Files and upload the Racial Equity Impact Analysis and submit. Remember, it's a process and not a checkbox. The Racial Equity Impact Analysis is a guide for bringing considerations of racial equity into decision-making process. The goal isn't to complete the form, it is to conduct an analysis that will help the city make decisions shaped by our racial equity values. Start early. Engaging community, collecting data, and communicating early and often will ensure more equitable outcomes. Collaborate. The analysis should not be done by one person. Collaborate with fellow staff members of varying perspectives, backgrounds, and skills. Identify the groups and community members most relevant to the decision and involve them as a stakeholder. Changed outcomes. The Racial Equity Impact Analysis is not a rigid or static process. There will be new information as data is collected and community most impacted has been engaged. Your intended outcomes may change. Refine. For every project, revisit your racial equity impact analysis at every interval and consider whether the initial recommendations are still relevant and valuable. Adapting this process as a city employee, organizational department, and enterprise advances the city's commitment in reducing racial disparities. For more information, visit us at our SharePoint or email the Division of Race and Equity team.